Let me ask you something and take a second before answering. If you woke up tomorrow and you were only allowed to work on one thing all day, what would it be? Not the thing that feels urgent, not the thing that other people are waiting on. I mean, the thing that actually moves your life forward. Most people struggle to answer that. And that's exactly why these books feel uncomfortable, but also incredibly powerful. And that question is really the heart of why this book matters. The One Thing, written by Gary Keller with J. Papasan, is not a productivity book in the way most people expect. It doesn't give you more hacks, it doesn't give you more systems, and it definitely doesn't give you more to manage. Instead, it quietly asks you to remove almost everything. And that's why a lot of people read this book and agree with it, and then go right back to doing too much. Because when you've been living in constant motion, simplicity doesn't feel peaceful. It actually feels unsettling. We've been taught about success. We're told that successful people juggle multiple priorities effortlessly and somehow manage to do it all. But Keller challenges that idea directly. He says extraordinary success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, but doing the right thing at the right time with full attention. Being busy is easy. Real focus is rare. This is where the entire book really comes together. Everything revolves around one question, which is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? I remember reading this and thinking, this sounds obvious, so why am I not doing it? Because that question doesn't let you hide. It's not asking, what should I do next? Or what's most important? Or what's most urgent? Or what will make me feel productive? It's asking about leverage. One choice, one action that simplifies everything else. And that kind of clarity is uncomfortable because it forces honesty. And once you start thinking this way, you also start seeing multitasking very differently. Keller is really blunt about it. He says that multitasking isn't a skill, it's a liability. Every time you switch tasks, something drops. Your focus drops, your quality drops, your thinking gets shallow. Even if you might feel productive, your energy is getting scattered. That's why so many people end the day exhausted, yet strangely unsatisfied. They did a lot. They just didn't do what mattered. And there's another very memorable idea in this book, which is called the Domino Effect. The idea is simple. If you line up the right domino and knock it over, it hits the next one and the next one. And eventually, the results grow far beyond that first push. Small action, bigger result. Momentum and compounding growth. But here's the part that people miss. If you hit the wrong first domino, nothing meaningful happens. You can push all day and still stay exactly where you are. And this naturally leads to another big idea of the book that makes a lot of people uneasy, which is balance is the wrong goal. Gary Keller argues that a perfectly balanced life doesn't create extraordinary results. That doesn't mean ignoring your health or your relationships. It means accepting this truth. Not everything can be equally important at the same time. There are seasons in life where one area demands more focus. Trying to spread your attention evenly usually leads to average results everywhere. Focus requires temporary imbalance and conscious choice. And if you've ever thought, maybe I'm not just disciplined enough, this next part matters. Another key idea in the book is that willpower is limited. You don't lack discipline. You lack a strategy that works with your energy instead of against it. Every decision drains you. Every distraction costs you focus. That's why the author emphasizes your one thing early, protecting that time fiercely, and building habits so discipline becomes automatic. Success isn't about being strong all the time. It's about being focused long enough for the right habits to take over. So the real question becomes, how do you actually live this day to day? And this is where the ideas become practical. So the author recommends time blocking, setting aside a non-negotiable block of time dedicated only to your one thing. He mentions 4 hours per day, ideally. No email, no messages, no distractions. During that time, everything else is considered a distraction. Everything that is not your one thing. Not because it's not important, but because your one thing is the priority right now. And that mindset alone changes how you work. And you know, I read this book multiple times during the last decade. And one thing, very simple thing that really stayed with me is something simple. It's that most people aren't failing because they're lazy. They're failing because they're diluted. They're saying yes to too many small things and no to the one thing that would actually change their life. Clarity isn't something that you stumble into. It's something we have to choose. So let me slow this down and make it practical. Right now, not someday, ask yourself, what's the one thing in my career that would change everything? What's the one habit that would make other habits easier? Or what's the one decision I've been quietly avoiding? And then ask the harder question. Why am I avoiding it? Most of the time, the one thing feels uncomfortable. And that's usually how you know it matters. So it's a good sign. Discomfort is a good sign. So here's the final thought I have is that the one thing isn't about doing less forever. It's about doing less on purpose. It's about clarity over chaos, depth over noise, and progress over motion. If this video helped you pause, even briefly, that might already be your first domino. If this kind of thinking resonates with you, subscribe to the channel. I share videos every week to help you build focus, clarity, and consistency, and make real progress towards your goals. And if this idea of focus landed for you, the next layer is habits. Watch this video right here about Atomic Habits by James Clear, where I break down how tiny daily actions compound into massive change, even when progress feels invisible. Thank you.